let me tell you about how antibiotics and alcohol set me back more than I ever thought it would. May 15th, I had to take a round of antibiotics for a few days. It was only a few days, it wasn't like 7 or 10 days. But I knew that antibiotics knock out the bad and the good. So I was a little bit scared of it disrupting my internal flora, which I didn't want that. I've always struggled with that. And probiotics have never really been my friend either, adding to the problems. But I had to take the antibiotics. There was no doubt about it. Within days of having the antibiotics, I felt cravings come on like I hadn't felt since before I started tirzepatide. Sugar, carbs, and alcohol. Well, alcohol and sugar falls under the carb category, but you know what I mean. And it scared me. It really did. I thought, no way. It happened like exactly like I thought it was going to happen. These antibiotics have messed up my gut to the point where even my 5 milligrams weekly dose of tirzepatide was not cutting it at all. The impulse was back and it was even worse. The cravings were back and it was even worse than before. And not only were the impulse and cravings back, it was like I couldn't even get enough of the sugar. And I wanted a drink every night. So that was on May 15th. So by June 20th, which was a month and 5 days later, I took my last dose of tirzepatide because I ran out. I didn't have a refill ready to go. So I took my last dose of 5 milligrams. I had no budget and no plan to refill. Wasn't really sure how I was going to do it, but I knew it was imperative to get it refilled. Even though I was still dealing with the impulse and the cravings, at least it was a hedge against those risks. But despite that, I went ahead and paid the $25 refill fee so that the invoice could at least just be sitting there waiting for me when I was ready to pay the $390 for a refill. Because I switched pharmacies because Hallandale was no longer available. I switched to South End. So that was on June 20th. So in the few weeks after that, I had swelling in my hands. My rings were starting to be very tight. I stopped wearing my wedding ring again, which besides my fingers swelling, my legs were swelling. And I have a desk job. I'm chained to the desk the full shift, except for breaks. And even though I have a standing desk, even standing for hours isn't exactly healthy, but my legs were swelling so tight. It was uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable. And I would try to massage it out. And that helped a little bit, but not very much. Yeah, my weight shot up to 184. And that's from, the mid to high 160s. I mean, it was scary to say the least. So for more clarity, it was June 20th was my last shot. On July 2nd, I was 171. So about 12 days after that, I paid my Lavender Sky Health invoice on July 7th. And by July 12th, my weight had shot up to 184. And that was 13 to 15 pounds higher than what I had already been just a month before that. So after several days of my legs swelling, getting painfully tight, I just had to white knuckle and stop all sugar and alcohol, no matter the cravings. I just knew I had to do it. So thankfully, I paid for the invoice on July 7th, and then my medicine came in on July 16th. So that is something to think about, that it was, 9 days, and I had already been out since June 20th. It's very important to have your refill ready, if at all possible. Before that refill came, like I said, I knew I had to just white knuckle it and cut myself off cold turkey and drink as much water as possible. That was probably another problem. I was not drinking enough water. My order came on July 16th, and I took my first dose. I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and increase my dose. I took my first dose of 6 milligrams. That was on July 16th. So within 6 days, within 6 days, I lost 11 pounds. I'm sure it was all water weight. I don't believe that very much, if any, was fat when my weight shot up. But it's almost like it's more scary when you're so inflamed. The fact that you could be retaining like 10 to 15 pounds of water weight is almost more scary to me than the fat. So by July 18th, I was back down to 173. So as a recap, so this makes more sense from a more linear perspective. Up until April of this year, I had stayed between 162 and 166. On May 15th, I took antibiotics. On May 19th, I was 172.9. All of June, I never got back under 170 after having those antibiotics. That was all of June. I never got back under 170. June 20th, I took my last dose of 5 milligrams. June 30th, 10 days later, I got my Lavender Sky Health invoice. I think I'd put in the order on the 26th or something. By June 30th, I got the invoice. July 2nd, I was still 171. But, this whole time I'm dealing with these cravings, these sugar cravings, alcohol cravings, because of running out of tirzepatide and having those antibiotics the month prior. So July 2nd, I was still 171. July 7th, I paid for the medication, paid for it only. July 12th, I was 184. So from July 2nd to July 12th, I put on 13 pounds, okay? July 16th, 4 days later, I got the medications. Oh, I was so happy and took my first dose of 6 milligrams. But that whole time before, I was like trying to drink water. I cut myself off from, I was like, this is ridiculous. Why am I having a drink multiple times a week? This feels icky. By July 18th, only 6 days after weighing in at 184, I was 173, down 11 pounds from 6 days prior. And I attribute that to eliminating alcohol, sugar, and then also getting back on tirzepatide. So right now I'm still holding steady in the upper 160s. My DEXA scan shows that I put on over 4 pounds of muscle from end of March to May 15th, I think it was. So even though I weigh more than I did in March, my body fat percentage is lower as of my DEXA in May. So I am having another DEXA scan tomorrow, August 27th. And of course, I will tell you the results then, whether it's good or bad. I'm fully transparent on here. We'll see what damage I've done since May, now that it's the end of August. But this August DEXA scan is going to be my new baseline, I guess you could say. Being consistent with walking, whether it's 5, 6, 8, 10,000 steps, whether I meet my goal or not, I'm always going to try. I'm going to continue to show up because what I'm chasing is consistency over perfection. So if I only have the energy to walk 3 laps in my neighborhood, I'm going to do that. If I have the energy to do the full 8 to 10 to meet my goal, then I'm going to do that as well. So there you have it, friends. That is my antibiotics and alcohol story. I hope you have some key takeaways from this. It is not worth it. It's not worth it. I am still on track of not consuming any alcohol since August 16th. As of the recording of this video, I am still on track for August 17th being the last time that I had a bag of candy, and August 18th was the last time that I had store-bought processed bread or wheat products, whether they are sugary or savory. And I hope to keep this streak going as long as possible, because just in the 8 to 10 days since setting those goals, I notice a huge difference in how I feel, my energy, my mental clarity is coming back a little bit, although I still am dealing with some foggy brain issues. And I noticed a big difference in the skin on my face. So telling y'all, it ain't worth it. If you can do it, try it, at least even for a little bit. Yep, it's still working. I forgot about a couple things I wanted to talk about as far as what I've been eating. I do not have a protein goal right now. My goal right now is to just stick with the streak of no alcohol, no candy, no store-bought processed wheat products. So I made a huge pot of greens that I still have not eaten all of quite yet, but it turned out delicious. It's one of my favorite recipes that actually was just on the bag, on the back of a bag of either collard greens or mixed greens. And I went to Winco, which is a discount grocery around here, and they had a pack up. It wasn't ham hocks. It was some smoked pork, but it wasn't salt pork because it wasn't that salty, but it added tons of flavor to the greens. Here's a picture of how it turned out right now. I mean, it was so good and it even looked so good. I just had to take a video, but it's perfect because then I can show you what I ate off of for like 3 days. Plus, it's so nutritious. It's low carb, if you think about it. It's whole foods. It's plant forward for sure. All the collard greens, tons of vitamin A and K, probably lots of fiber. And I think because collards, they're so, I cooked them for like 3 days straight. Even I ate them the first day, cooked them again the second day, reheated the third day. Listen, don't judge me when it comes to food handling. This is my house, okay? I'm not serving it to anybody. But the collards were still pretty chewy even after boiling them like multiple times for hours and hours. So it just reaffirmed the fact that I prefer turnip green or mustard greens. But the collards, I just put it in my head, well, at least they taste good and I'm getting the nutrition from them. So nutrition focused, not protein focused. I just kind of eat weird. And I'm trying to embrace that. I have never been, and I find it really hard to sit down with a meal with an entree and a side or a couple sides. And it's not even something that's important to me, I'm realizing. So I think part of progress and the and keeping your joy in this progress is don't pressure yourself to keep to societal norms so much. For example, here is a video of me chopping up some papaya, cut it in half, and the first half I just sat there and ate a massive bowl of papaya for breakfast. That was my breakfast. I just ate papaya. This papaya, I didn't pick a very great one. It was kind of chewy and not a lot of flavor. So you see me adding some lime juice and just a little drizzle of honey to help it out a little bit. Not to mislead anyone, I say I don't have a protein goal because, as I said in a different video, trying to meet protein goals has stressed me out. And I actually put on muscle just fine as long as I am having probably the average amount of protein that's recommended and lifting really heavy. I notice lifting heavy is what gives me muscle. So, this whole journey, I have probably at most had between 60 to 80 grams of protein a day. I don't recommend it for people. You have to know yourself. I'm just saying that I stop stressing myself out about it. I will go back to high protein eventually once I get in this habit of not thinking so much about alcohol and sugar. I wouldn't say I'm struggling with it, but that voice that is like that annoying sound is still in my head of like, man, a glass of wine would be so good right now. And I don't even know if it's a craving so much as it is a habit. But I'm pretty sure as the more I incorporate good whole foods, um, and cooking my own meats, like when I did the greens and having whole half of a papaya for breakfast and snacking on that all day, I'm pretty sure my gut is going to improve, and the craving for sugar and alcohol will continue to subside until I don't have it anymore because I am having it a lot less um, than in May when my whole biome got completely disrupted by antibiotics, which is a whole video on its own. Here, I wanted to share with you some of my own daily wins. I resisted these when I had an errand I needed to do. The croissants look so good. The icy looks so good, but I'm proud of myself that I opted for sushi after doing my errand at Amazon. Then I went to grocery outlet. They had this great deal on ground beef. I got some of that. Then also this great deal on fish, steelhead trout, which is my absolute favorite. Look at that, $3 off. I resisted these cheap cans of Chardonnay, these awesome deals on wine, and opted for a mask. Because if you feel like you need a treat, just pick a different one that helps you with your goals. Bye, y'all.